Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I actually wanted to talk about some of the teaser images that we got for episode 5 because they're actually pretty revealing. There's a lot of new story elements here that we didn't see in the trailer. So yeah, I do want to get into this here. So before going any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. And if you haven't subscribed to the Empty Minds podcast yet, definitely go do so. There's a new episode out today. I will leave a link in the description of this video. And yeah, I hope you guys go and subscribe. But let's get into the images here. So there's actually quite a bit that I did want to talk about here, and we'll just sort of go through how I have the images laid out here, and I'll just give my thoughts on the images as we're sort of going through it here. So we do have this shot here of Daryl and Laurent. Pretty generic shot. I mean, this is obviously at some point when they're just kind of, maybe they've left that guy that was taking them to the nest and they're journeying on, and maybe they're getting close at this point. I don't know how close they're going to get to this place in this episode, but I mean, it's the second to last episode. We know Daryl's going to get captured in here. Just how close do they get afterwards, and what's the outcome of all of that? I mean, a lot of the Daryl and Laurent stuff when he's sort of alone with him out there. In terms of the trailer, it looks like it's almost most of the episode. I really feel like it's going to be 10 to 15 minutes of the episode. We have another shot here of Daryl and a newer character, and this is a flashback scene, and you know it's a flashback scene because of what Daryl is wearing. He has his vest. So, yeah, this is obviously a flashback to how he got on the boat. So episode 5 is actually exciting for a lot of reasons. They're going to get into just big reveals on all of that. They're going to show us, how he got to France, or I guess we kind of know how, but the why. Why was he on that ship? And, obviously in some way it is connected to Rick, but we should get that confirmation in this episode. He at some point got into trouble or something looking for Rick at some point, right? So the mystery there should be revealed. So I'm excited to see how that plays out here. And yeah, this is a part of it here. This seems to be before they actually went on the ship. I know there's a lot of shots of Daryl just sort of out there and he runs into people and whatnot. So we're going to see quite a bit. This episode's going to have a lot of flashbacks. A shot here of Daryl, very, very awesome shot here. And this is when he's captured and he's most likely looking at Madame Genet, or he's looking at Caudron, whoever. Madame Genet obviously is sort of giving this big speech, and I'll talk about that shot because it's coming up very soon, but it really kind of feels like this is going to be a big statement sort of thing for her. Like, she wants to show, I guess, a lot of her supporters and stuff just what she has, and I think the variant Walker is going to be that. I really think she's going to show off its skills sort of thing, and I wonder if Daryl is going to embarrass her, and that could be, obviously cause a lot of tension and stuff for season 2, but also the finale, right? We have another shot here of Daryl. This just looks really cool. Obviously, this is another flashback episode, so yeah, again, there's a lot of flashback footage here, and we have this one here. This is also a flashback, so this takes place later on. So the shots that we talked about before in terms of flashbacks just sort of showed him getting to France or going on that ship. At this point here, he's already a prisoner. So, why is he a prisoner at this point? What did he do wrong? Again, a lot of this stuff here, I'm just curious about, because did he do it intentionally, right? Because Daryl did mess up the research. He found out stuff about the variant walkers and all of that, or maybe he finds out in this scene. There's something here, because when all of it happens, I mean, Daryl does it, and it's not just on accident, right? Like, there's a reason why Daryl is doing what he's doing. Apparently, that's supposed to be revealed in this episode. So I'm interested in that. I'm really interested in why Daryl specifically is in the place that he's in. I really feel like it is definitely more than he was captured and that was it, right? The flashbacks might mirror sort of something that, in terms of a story, just Daryl always getting out of these situations, because he's captured here. Obviously, we know he escapes. And then in the present timeline, he's captured and is most likely going to escape. Maybe they're telling a story there where, Daryl is sort of used to doing everything on his own. And so maybe in this scene here, when Daryl actually gets away from the variant walker, maybe it's because he's not alone doing it. He actually needs help, and Isabel helps him, right? Like, maybe they're doing something like that. I don't know. But the next shot here, we do see Daryl, and again, this is a flashback scene. He's running into this random group here. There's a character in the back, and then obviously there's a character right here. Daryl obviously gets into a fight with these guys here. So somehow maybe this leads into something. Again, at this point, he's still searching for Rick. I think this is very, very early on in terms of the flashbacks. Like, I think this is the closest scene here in terms of, going backwards to the Walking Dead's timeline, like with the finale or whatever. So yeah, a lot of flashback footage. And then we have this shot here of Madame Genet. And again, she's sort of giving like this political speech here. And I think that is why she doesn't like Laurent. I'll talk about that most likely in a video tomorrow, but whether or not she believes in Laurent being the cure and all of that, I think she's worried about him becoming a potential leader and taking a lot of supporters from her, right? Where she's going to lose all of her support and power and whatnot, where she's going to lose a lot of power and whatnot. I mean, she really does not want that. Then there's a shot here of Isabel, and I mean, obviously she has a different outfit here, very in line with what like Madame Genet and Caudron and all of them are sort of wearing. And we know at this point here, it seems like, I mean, if you look in the back, like, yeah, actually, if you're just sort of looking at the setting in general here, this does seem to be what it is. So Caudron, or not Caudron, but Quinn and Isabel, I'm guessing, have been invited to whatever this show is going to be. And I really do hope it's sort of portrayed like that, like they're invited to this show. Isabel has no idea what's going to be happening here. And then all of a sudden she shows up there, and then she looks and she sees Daryl having to fight this variant walker. And then she kind of freaks out because she's like, well, first of all, concerned about Daryl, but then also, where's Laurent, right? Like, it's going to be insane. Honestly, this whole scene's going to be crazy. But then we have this shot here of Daryl. And again, this is a flashback scene, just very, very cool. This one scene of Isabel, and this is before she arrives there. I mean, I thought, when she was saying, like, forgive me for what I'm about to do sort of thing, I mean, obviously it has something to do with killing somebody. I mean, it clearly has something to do, it seems like, with whatever she's looking at here. If this is a memory thing, I don't know why she's trying to get rid of it. Like, what is she doing? We have this shot here of Daryl, again, just sort of the same thing as the other ones there. This one here of a newer character, and I mean, to me, this whole entire group seems to be just obviously villains in some sense. This character might not be a villain. This character might actually try to help Daryl out, so we'll have to wait and see. This shot here is of Daryl, and he's captured at this point still. This is on the boat, and that's what I mean. This is really, really interesting. Like, there's so much flashback footage, but there's still so many scenes of so much else, right? Like, there's so many scenes of them traveling with Laurent, or Daryl specifically traveling with Laurent, and the variant walker stuff and all of that. So, like, there's a lot here in this episode. This episode needs to be, or not needs to be, it has to be like an hour long for sure, an hour plus. Like, there's quite a bit in this episode, it seems like. We have this shot here, and this is what I wanted to talk about here. So Daryl he actually has a weapon here. And this is the one thing that I didn't know if it was going to happen or not. Like, that variant walker was going to come after Daryl, and I was wondering, well, how is he going to fight the variant walker? Like, he in some way needs a weapon. If it's just him versus the variant walker, like, I don't know, maybe there's sort of, obstacles he can sort of jump over kind of thing, just use that to his advantage. But I was wondering how he was going to, pull it off, and it looks like he's actually given a weapon here. So that is pretty awesome. Obviously, it's probably going to still be hard for him to use that. I did give my concerns over the length of this scene. I hope that this scene isn't like a minute long or something. I want him to struggle with this variant walker. I want there to be something really cool where the variant walker comes after him and maybe he like kills it or something, but then it gets back up because it's actually stronger. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to be something really cool like that. It needs to be a cool reveal, not just like this whatever walker scene, because honestly I will be disappointed with that, because that would be two shows so far where they showed two cool variant walkers that were killed pretty easily. Another shot here of Laurent, and Daryl's most likely in this scene here, and yeah, this is most likely like in the opening minutes, I'm assuming, of the episode. This shot here of Quinn, and this is most likely, when him and Isabel arrive to Madame Genet's, I guess I don't know what you would call that place, but whatever her community is, right? Like, this seems to be the main base of just wherever she's staying at. And then we have this shot here, really epic shot of Madame Genet and her forces here, really shows how powerful she is. And just like, yeah, I mean, this is such a menacing shot. Like, obviously, like, she's a villain, right? Like, she just looks like a villain. Underneath her, actually, it looks like that's sort of a gate that might open up. So I'm actually wondering if she's sort of doing this presentation, giving this speech to a lot of people, and then they're gonna, she's putting on a show, and then maybe the gate underneath her opens up. Maybe that's Daryl that runs out, or maybe it is the variant walker. I know Madame Genet is supposed to be down there as well afterwards, so I'm guessing that's going to happen at some point, and then she's talking with Daryl about whatever, and I mean, yeah, like, that's the thing. She has some hate for Daryl and all of that, but I don't, like, for her, it is more of like, you messed up my research. Like, that's the sort of thing with, like, Caudron and Daryl, and makes sense. Daryl killed Caudron's brother, right? So it makes sense that they would, have that hate there. But like the hate between Madame Genet and Daryl, I don't really get that hate. I mean, I guess for Daryl, it's just like, hey, stop coming after me kind of thing, right? But Madame Genet is going after him only because of the fact that he messed up their research. And so there must have been something so important there. Like there must have been something very, very important that Daryl found out. And I think that's why the flashback scenes are being shown in this episode, because I think there's going to be a reveal here. And that's why Madame Genet is so just like, I need Daryl. We need to get our revenge on him, or whatever she plans to do with Daryl, right? So I'm very curious about that. I think it makes sense that we're seeing this scene here with the flashback stuff. I think story-wise, it's going to make so much sense. We have another shot here of Madame Genet, and she is, again, back in her office or whatever, and we've seen her here before. That's why I believe that this place here that they're at, it's her main base. It's sort of just where she's living, right? And then the final shot here is of Daryl, and again, this is probably in the opening minutes. So I think overall this episode, it's really, really exciting. I will be doing a video talking about the flashback stuff more in depth. I'll do that video next, actually, because I do want to get into, some of my thoughts on that. And I want to, have some expectations sort of set going into the episode. There's quite a bit of stuff that I think they're going to give us, the reasonings for the flashbacks being shown here, I think, connect a lot with why Genet wants Daryl and the variant Walker and all of that. And so it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see, is Carol going to show up, or we're going to see sort of a voiceover, or not see, but hear a voiceover? What are they going to give us here? Maybe this actually gives us some clues as to where Carol is, right? And then after this episode, we're really just sort of going into the finale, and the finale is exciting because Carol could show up at the end, right? That's something that could be really, really insane. Imagine that, like after all of this here, there's a post-credit scene or something, and we see Carol arrive in France. Like, that's where this is going to change everything, and this show is going to get so, so exciting. This show's already so exciting. I'm not saying it's not, but that's where it's just like, okay, like, The Walking Dead is back, right? Because The Walking Dead ended, less than a year ago now, but, Dead City introduced some stuff. It sort of revived it a little bit. Daryl right now, is obviously it's revived it a lot more. I think when Carol comes back, and then at that point, it's just, okay, you have the main cast back. You sort of establish this world now, and fans really love it. Fans seem to love where the story is right now, more than where it was last year with the final season and like some previous seasons before that. So really, really amazing stuff. And again, after this is over, actually, I should probably talk about that in a video coming up later on this week at some point, but it looks like AMC is going to be having a Walking Dead universe panel at New York Comic Con. I find it very weird that they're doing one now because they weren't planning to. So out of nowhere, they're like, no, we're going to. And I believe it's on October 12th. I could have the date wrong, but I believe it's on the 12th. So I'm kind of curious about that. Does that mean that they're going to be showing us some stuff from the Rick and Michonne show? Because October 12th, at that point, we're going to be waiting for the finale to release. And they could give us a teaser for the finale or something like that. Maybe. Probably something with Fear they're going to be talking about. They might confirm some stuff with Dead City Season 2. But I really feel like what they're likely going to do is talk about the Rick and Michonne show. There might be a lot of casting news. A lot of that. There's going to be a teaser shown. If not the trailer, a teaser shown of new footage. So they're starting to ramp some stuff up here. So yeah, anyways, I'm very excited here. I'll do a video talking about all of that so at some point this week. But post all your thoughts down below. Post your predictions for episode 5. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.